I hate artificial intelligence music. I'm not opposed to AI, but I absolutely cannot stand the idea of artificial intelligence music. When I go back to the beginnings of my career and I think about how I spent tons and tons of hours playing scales and chords ad nauseum, sleeping in the church office, practicing over and over again, sequencing on the Korg M1, sequencing over and over till I woke up and fell asleep because I couldn't even afford a keyboard. I had to borrow keyboards by playing them in church offices and buildings that weren't my home. I couldn't afford that, but I practiced until my hands would hurt. I ended up mastering playing the piano behind singers, creating my own material, singing with choirs, arranging groups, producing groups in the studio. The first experience I had as a producer was when a friend of mine asked me to produce his group. And it was such an honor. It took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, powwows, almost coming to blows in studios, arguing about arrangements. I remember changing a particular singer's arrangement within that group. And while she sang what she did in the studio, she was just so upset that she had to change her beloved arrangement. It didn't make sense. It wasn't a coherent arrangement. It was all over the place. And experiences like that come back to me when people say, AI music, AI music is great. I don't see it that way because I think about all the energy, the blood, sweat, and tears I put in to learning my craft, taking groups like that one to the studio. And that wasn't the only bad experience I had. I remember taking a huge choir to the recording studio, and on going back into the studio after the recording, after they had all gone, I met a man with a massive submachine gun in the alleyway. He was shooting at a Mercedes in front of me. I escaped by the skin of my teeth. These are experiences that come back. When you talk about the high cost of being a musician, I'm sure lots of you have stories to tell about how you almost lost your life. Now, it might not even be that dramatic, but maybe you're like me, who has been through experiences in music studios, working till you are almost dropping dead tired. Maybe you even did drop, like I did, drop on the sofa, conk out for a few minutes, and then you come back. Or you're working these night sessions, back to back to back sessions. And when you get a session as a producer, you don't want to give up on the session. So you end up doing back to back to backs to back. And even though you've got an assistant producer or engineer, sometimes the engineers will double as a co-producer. Even though you've got those, you got to be absolutely alert. And nothing should go past you. No take should be done without you being there in the moment, understanding what went down and knowing what to correct. But these days, people don't need to have gone through all of these experiences. And I can tell you stories and stories about groups and production episodes and bringing musicians into the studio and what it entails. But now most people don't care about those stories. Why? Because there's AI. No one even cares anymore to listen, except those who've been in that world. Then it means something to them. But to us who have been through all that blood, sweat, and tears, it's like decades wiped out and nobody even cares, to put it politely. No one could care less. So this new age of artificial intelligence music is one that, I'll speak for the musicians, is hated. We can't stand it. We have people that have no idea that music has 12 distinct notes. I know we've got a lot of microtones, but let's not even go that far. People don't even know what a microtone is. They've got no idea how music is formed in this Western sphere. Now, I'm not begrudging people that don't know theory, because a lot of indigenous music was based on, feel for rhythm, harmony, melody without any of the academics behind music. So it will be foolish for me to criticize people who don't know C, C sharp, D, E flat, E, and so on. It will be silly of me to criticize everyone because not everyone knows that. But on the flip side, I come from a family of percussionists, right? Talking drummers, if you will. My very first instrument my uncle gave me was a talking drum. So I come from that background, so I'm not ignorant, blindsided to that fact that a lot of musicians in the world, I'm talking about across the world, they're gonna know musical academic background, but they can play their faces off. And I want to respect that. So I'm not saying that everyone who is a musician knows how to read, knows the theory. No, they don't. So I want to approach this conversation with that mindedness. Now, the reason why a lot of musicians are bitter about artificial intelligence is, first of all, it seems like it dethrones them as an expert, even though it does not really, but because they're thinking in terms of what people can do now with AI that they used to depend on them for, it makes them feel weaker. But let me speak for myself, because artificial intelligence does not make me feel weaker as a musician. I feel empowered to know what it's doing and to say, hey, rein it in, or do this instead, or no, that's too much, or add this secret seasoning in. So I don't feel dethroned as a musician because I know my craft. Whether we're talking melody, harmony, rhythm, mixing, production, mastering, I can hold my own. So if I feel inferior to artificial intelligence, that I got to go deal with that. That's my business and my fault. So when I hear musicians say they hate AI music, let's be honest and talk about why we hate it. If it's, you could feel dethroned. You could feel my power no longer exists. I don't have that edge. Someone wanted me to play piano behind them. They're great singers, but they can't play. Now, all those folks need to do is go to Suno and sing in Suno Studio, and Suno Studio will provide a piano accompaniment or a string accompaniment for those people. So I should ask myself, does that make me any less of a musician now that a singer or songwriter can now get a back into what they would like to have done with a human? No, it's a choice. Now, when AI backs you up, it does so with zeros and ones. It is not doing that with the human feel and emotion, with the human decision making, the ability to deviate from the predictability of zeros and ones and to do something mind-blowing. So should that make me feel any less a musician? No, it shouldn't. But I feel a lot of musicians are looking at that power taken away. And as a result of that, they're also looking at less of the money pool. Now that you don't need a pianist, now that you don't need a guitarist, a lot of that money that would have come into my pocket is going away. It's just a redistribution of the money. It's not going away. It's still there, but it's being used for Suno. And I can understand that perspective because I don't want to negate that fact. But going a step further, people have more options. It is not making me feel less of a musician. Something else that people are mad about, they feel that the playing field has now been equaled between those who are poor musicians or not musicians and those who are. And my comeback to that is, you cannot control people. Okay, what good is it being mad that now everyone can have a piano piece played behind them or a full backing band, or people don't need to go to studios anymore? Let me ask you that question. How much of your money was from studio production? people off the street coming to you. It was never as a result of people off the street coming to you. Even if you had a music studio, that world began to die long ago when Pro Tools came on the scene. When Pro Tools came on the scene, a lot of studios died. And beyond that, a lot of mastering studios also died. I brought my buddy Dave on the show, Dave Shirk, and he's talked about that. How his business was folded up as a result of people mastering by themselves, mastering with AI. This take-up has been a long time coming, but the purpose of this video is for you as a musician to look introspectively and ask the question, what are you mad about? What do you hate? Do you hate the fact that music is now democratized, that people now have the ability to create songs without going to a studio, paying thousands and thousands of dollars? Come on now, if you're a musician and you worked in the studio world, because some of you are musicians and you never did, you were touring, mostly playing on the road, but never worked in the studio. A lot of the hate is coming from the studio musicians who see, oh, a finished track is now so easy to get. You don't have to spend 800 hours, let's even make it less, 80 hours. You don't have to spend 80 hours in a music studio. You don't need a mix engineer, a mastering engineer, because all that could be done in seconds. You don't even need the singer anymore, which is crazy. And I understand all that. Is that what you want to remain mad about? Because hate eats you up. Anytime you hear an AI track or someone tells you it's an AI track, and those emotions of hate and being mad, it's just going to eat you up, and that kills. Having all those bad, negative feelings generates all those toxins which end up eating you up in different ways. Cancers, headaches, bad stuff. My advice to musicians is don't be mad. Be intentional about your mental health. Decide that this whole AI thing isn't going to take away your joy. Instead, it's going to help you look for how to pivot. It's not going away. As I have always said in my debates to people, do you think any government is going to shut down AI music? And the answer is no. The governments are not going to shut down AI music. Don't be ridiculous. The governments, they don't care about how you're creating your music. There's bigger fish for those guys to fry. So no one's going crazy saying, oh, we got to stop AI music. Get over it. The same way AI has taken over the programming world, it's an ally to a lot of the programmers. The programmers, they tell me, Phil, it hasn't taken away our job. Instead, it's given us more work because people are writing sloppy code. We got to go clean up the code. And I like their posture. They're not losing sleep over it. Is it true that some people who would have needed developers don't need developers to the degree they did? Yes. But they're pivoting and looking for services such as, oh, I see what you're trying to do with code. Well, that's not going to work. Let me help you rewrite or correct your code. Or they work in other aspects that are more critical and difficult, such as working on the back end, hardware, and so on. So as a musician, my question to you is, how are you going to pivot? What are you going to do differently? For me, I have catalogs and catalogs of music that if I were to begin producing them with AI today, I would still have my work cut out, because I would be wearing all the hats and coming at the AI from a more critical standpoint. And as I've shown on this channel, I have already started releasing a lot of the work I wrote over 20 plus years ago, even one that I wrote 30 years ago. I finally got it out. So when I look at AI, it's not a competitor, it's an enabler, because I'm writing my songs. You get what I'm saying? I like being mad about what other people are doing in their bedroom is dumb. I got your attention, didn't I? Well, that's how it is in the world of AI. Being concerned with what other people are doing in their studio, even if it's a portable studio on their laptop, is dumb. You cannot police what people are doing in music, and it should make you mad. You get what I'm saying? It's like people's preferences and choices of what they eat, who they date, what they do is no different. Why would you get all boiled up in anger over a kid on the other side of the globe in Australia playing with AI in their bedroom? They make a hit, it goes viral, and everyone celebrates them. But you're mad because this kid used AI and it's eating you up. Then you're dumb for letting someone who you know nothing about influence you to that degree. Get over it. What people do with music, with AI, with their sexual preferences, with their lives, with their leaning, has nothing to do with you and how you lead your life. So my suggestion to you is shut up and get over it. Be an adult. Look, this is what my buddy Rick Brinkman calls a grenade. A grenade is a crazy person who is blowing up in explosion 360 and harming everyone around them. And that's how some of these AI music haters are. They're grenades. It's like, I'm mad, I'm crazy, I'm angry. What are you angry about? I'm just angry about AI. So they take it out on everyone in the vicinity. They're grenades. Don't be a grenade. Be an emotionally intelligent individual who is able to bridle their emotions and have sensible debate and discussion about artificial intelligence. What is it you don't like about AI? I cannot stand the way it pushes up the high frequencies. Okay. I cannot stand how the output I get from Suno is so tinny and it sounds fake. Now we're talking. I cannot stand how the artifacts bombard the output from these AI tools. Okay. I cannot stand how the voices are not human enough. Now we're talking from a more technical standpoint, because when we get all emotional and try to bully people, power up on people, belittle people, then you're less of an artist and you're becoming more of government. And I don't mean government in countries. I just mean you're trying to govern and regulate people. You're trying to control people. And that doesn't get us anywhere. That does not take the narrative forward. If you truly love music and you want to make a difference in this world of the AI age of music positively by showing people a better way, then you'll do more by being a controlled, collected, intellectual musician. Don't critique AI from an emotional standpoint. Don't look at it as the enemy taking your job and all that. No, look, that's old school. What I challenge you to do is to professionally critique artificial intelligence. Why or why not should people use or not use AI? If you're coming at me from the angle of it takes away jobs, I understand you, but moaning about that all day does nothing to move the narrative forward. How do we ensure musicians of the future have jobs? How do we ensure that musicians of the future are protected? Their precious cargo, right? How do we ensure that the engineers and the mastering technicians and those folks still have a place in the world of music tomorrow? How do we preserve the art form that we love? Being more strategic about it is the best thing you could do instead of being a grenade, shouting like an imbecile, I don't like AI music, I don't like AI music, I hate what you're doing, Phil. It does nothing. And that's why when my kid came to me and said, Dad, look what I created with AI. I was at first blown back in a bad way. I was like, wow, what an insult. All my years of hard work and all my years of trying to convince her to practice piano more. Well, there goes piano. I guess she's not going to adhere to my cries to practice more piano, to learn what I've been teaching her. And then I had an epiphany. I realized you cannot police people. You cannot, at the time, she was not an adult. So even though she's not an adult, you still can't police what a kid wants to do musically. If they tune out, they tune out. They could go to all the piano lessons in the world, but if you tune them out, they stay tuned out. Even though they go to lessons, they obey you, but their heart isn't in it. And therefore, it is less of an art form. It's not music anymore, it's drudgery. So I had an epiphany. I realized, okay, I need to lead the way in this realm by bringing people together, having dialogue, having discourse, and finding out what don't you like about it? Okay, how do we get around it? Are there pieces of it we could use? And I just eventually, I can't remember how I got into Suno. I can't really recall, but I ended up finding myself in Suno. And it might have been as a result of one of Rick's videos. Because Rick Beato put out a video where he, had a rant about AI, and it wasn't the most recent one. I think it was like an old one, either of Rick, but I really didn't think much of it. So my daughter showed me what she had done. Before my daughter showed me what she had done, a friend of mine had a kid who had been dabbling into loops. So some of my shock horror started off with loops. I'm like, you made this with loops? Then my daughter showed me what she did. Then I was even more shocked. Then I ended up watching, I believe it was Rick's video. And then I ended up watching a video of another lady who said, I'm not a musician, but I'm releasing music and this is how I do it. I'm like, well, what a dumb schmuck I am, sitting on my hind end, watching the world of music pass me by. I don't even understand how this is being done. I need to study. I need to learn. I need to understand. And that's when I started looking into all these tools. And I realized these tools do what I can do physically. I can sequence, I can program till the cows come home. I can sequence any beat. I can play any beat with finger drums. I can play a lot of instruments, drums, bass, guitar, keys. I'm not that great on the woodwinds, but I can hold my own to sound a bit coherent. So when I approach AI, my question is, okay, how can I make it better? How can I make it more human sounding? How can I outdo the AI? Or how can I program the AI to do the things that I know I would like to do, but may not be able to do on instrument X or Y or Z? When I think about working with AI, I want it to do the stuff I can't do on the other instruments. On my main instrument, the keys, the piano, I'm not looking for AI to do what I can't do, right? Because as the lead instrument I play, I'm comfortable with that. So I'm not threatened by AI at all. Instead, I begin looking at it as an ally. So when I started seeing people using artificial intelligence who are not musicians, I said, well, shame on me if I don't know what this is all about. So I started learning. And for you fellow musicians, take a chill pill. That's my message for you. Take a chill pill, have an introspective epiphany, even if it takes some months. But you need to stop being mad and crazy and start being strategic, because being crazy and mad does nothing for you. It does not help you. It does not help your family. It does not help your legacy. It does not help your skills. But if you're strategic, now you're talking. Now you're asking, how can I get better? I remember listening to some stuff I'd done with AI and it made me think, how do I get better? So how do I play what this thing just gave me back? And I go sit at the piano and try to play it. Yeah, AI has challenged me. And I dare say I've become an even better musician because of it. So while I understand your pain when you're mad, yeah, be mad for a second, but then get strategic, get intentional. and start looking for how we can level the playing field of authenticity in music. It will be dumb for you to keep telling every kid you meet who's using AI in their bedrooms, don't do that. You're spoiling the... Look, after a while, 50, 60, 70 years, you're not going to be here anymore. 100 years, right? When you're not here anymore, the next generation is going to do what they like. So how can you better equip them? You get what I'm saying? My philosophy is very, very simple. Don't sweat the small stuff. AI is here to stay. It's not going away. You bang your head on a brick wall, no government's going to say, don't use Suno. Don't use... No, that time is long gone. That was in the 1800s. We've evolved as a species. That is not happening. So be honest and ask yourself, how can I preserve the integrity of live music? What can I do to empower kids to learn more? That's why on PHILL-C.net, PHILL-C.net, what I've started doing is putting out videos to educate people on music. This is the theory. This is why things are like this. This is how to play on this key. That here are the three major chords, the 1, 4, 5. Here are all the diatonic chords. And I've started creating apps that empower singers who may not play the piano, but they want to hear full piano accompaniment behind them, or at least some chords changing. Maybe a 1, maybe a 2 major, maybe a major 7 flatted 5th. How would they get around that? Well, I've started creating apps. I've started creating free apps, free drum machines, because I want to empower people to understand what they're exactly doing in the AI tools. Being mad, being crazy, it's not the answer. The answer is dialogue. So I invite you, hit that like button, first of all, if you've listened this far. Thank you very much. And subscribe to this channel, because I will help you be the voice of reason. I will help you be the bridge between AI and the human. I very recently created a 7-level taxonomy that identifies everyone on the spectrum. And I am definitely not forcing anyone to be an AI musician or protagonist. No, I'm not. But what I'm doing is helping everyone see where they are. So if you go to PHILL-C.net and look for my PHILL-AIM Taxonomy, you will find my thought process, how I see people. Level 0 is human-only purist. Okay? They would rather be analog than anything else. They do not embrace AI. They do not embrace Pro Tools. They're sticking to manual gear, and that's okay. Now, not everyone is that extreme. Some people are like, okay, Pro Tools is okay. We don't have Real anymore. We go with Pro Tools. But the Real level 0 purist, nah, they're sticking to their Reals. Level 1 is where we begin to use AI for administrative purposes. Level 2 is where we allow AI to micro assist, give us an idea of a song, give us an idea about maybe a rhyme, but the human is still in control. Level 3 is where we allow the human to come in and we allow the AI to come in and do some mastery, to suggest mix change, to organize stems, like Lambda and so on. But the human is still the creative force. Level 4 is where we begin to allow AI to co-create. So hybrid arrangements, the human provides a lead vocal, but the AI can generate backing parts. The human is in the lead vocal, the lead instrument. Level 5 is where we allow the AI to co-create and co-perform. The AI co-creates melodies versus instrumental phases. It's a true 50-50. Now, you do know there's a difference between a lead instrument, a lead vocal, a lead melody in level 4 versus level 5, where you're now saying, okay, if you have ideas for the lead, let's go AI. So this is like a 50-50, 60-40, 70-30. It's a collaboration. It's a split, right? And where the human may not contribute, the AI can. So level 5 is where I see the future of a lot of musicians, co-creating, co-performing. Then we get to level 6. Level 6 is human directed, but it's AI originating the musical material. The melody, the singing, the production, everything is AI, but there's a human in the loop. So levels 0 to 6 always has a human in the loop, but level 7 is where we have a human out of the loop. And this is the level that I'm not really in agreement with. I'm not there yet. For many, they just look at it as a business model. Oh, just create music so that it's a revenue stream. I don't concur. I still have that musician heart. And I know some people would see that and say, yeah, what's wrong with it? It's like a revenue stream. Just like people see Netflix and and Amazon Prime as revenue streams for Jeff Bezos, Amazon, and whoever the shareholders are in Netflix. But I don't see it like that. For me, there has to be a human in the loop. The moment you take the human out of the loop, heaven help us, because we have no control over what is being created, and that's level 7. Level 8 is what I call an ambidextrous hybrid policy. All of these are talked about on philc.net. If you want to learn more about my taxonomy, go on down to phillc.net and you'll be able to learn more. But thank you for hanging with me and listening to my rationalization about the world of AI. I truly wish you all the very best in your journey. We're all on a journey, but let's have dialogue. Let's be reasonable. Let's be rational. Let's be respectful, and let's move music forward. If we truly love music, then we need to have dialogue to move music forward.